Hi, welcome to this video on my TXT Discovery robot and controller. Last time I concentrated on the sound, which didn't work. The light worked, and also the strange preference of the touch above the sonar was very disheartening. Not really funny. Now I want to do some other tests to see what happens. I've measured the total width of the robot, and that is 17 centimeters. So now I've placed the battery packs wider than 17 centimeters and the ruler in between them. And the question is, will it stop again by the touch sensors, or will it stop somehow in time by the sonar? And will I see the light? Will I hear the sound? Because that is something that is odd as well. It should do both, but as we saw last time, it doesn't. So let's make a first run and see what happens. Hoping that everything works in one go. Not expecting too much about that. A little bit of patience. There it goes. It stops fully, and that is because, well, there's no because the software just runs on. So I'll stop the software, have a little go on scrolling back on what ground it ends. Is it the sonar or is it anything else? And it is nothing actually. So from this position on, I'll see what happens. What will happen? Now it should be time to do something. Very short distance, but what will happen? If anything. That is a very long pause to start. And I think it is well within distance to reach, so let's stop this and do another setup. Second setup, further distance. Let's see what happens, if anything. There it goes. Alright, this is again something odd. And the software just goes on, while on display says no program. Another start. Now it says online again. Display flash. Fine. So I killed the running software, starting it again. See what happens this time. There it goes. And that was not supposed to happen. It stops. Scrolling back. Why does it stop? Because of no apparent reason, once again. So this is a little bit annoying to see that it gets again a little bit off its track. It clearly touches the sensor, which isn't noticed apparently, and the sonar gives no home, if that's the correct term to use. So also what I noticed is that although the program runs on, it says there's no program in the memory, and while the program is running, because it runs exactly straight on the controller, there should be mention of the program on the controller. So weird stuff happening. Yeah, let's have a look at the output anyway. So let's look at the output that it has produced so far. And just for today, of course. And here we see first run. And we have to pay attention closely to these lines. And it is 0. And reported as well is that sonar is completely missing. Go to the second run. This is exactly indeed nothing. Third run. Nothing happening. Also not sonar. So why this happens, I have no clue, but apparently there's nothing happening. And the last run, if this is the last run, also no contact made, but also no sonar at all. So this is very, very strange. And let's take a look. At the software. Because it is about here. This part. And maybe I should replace or relocate these lines to here somewhere. That may be an option. On the other hand, I was told that it was just for the motors to synchronize. The other thing is that when looking to the further part of the code, if it chooses to cooperate. Yes, there we are. Here the lamp goes. And this is working, because that was shown in the previous video. This part is definitely working, at least where it comes to the lamp. But also it has this line, and if we go a little bit up, I really prefer to hurry up a little bit, but apparently today that's not really an option. Anyway, I have this this line up there as well, where where I want to have the sound being activated. Doesn't work. So let's do another try. Next try. As you can see, there's the third block in the middle, which is actually the RF data link from the first walking robot Mirft. I'm not using that for now. So let's see what this gives. And that's a flash of the display, so I have to once again and another thing is that the software just runs, but it doesn't do anything. And there's a bit wrong here. Okay, that's better. And the software just ran on and ran on, so that is very typical. Kept making pictures with the camera. Ouch! Well, I don't need to look at the software to see that that is going to, that was wrong. That said, did it leave the track? I don't think so. Wide enough gap between the battery packs. But also clearly no sonar contact. That is to say, let's see what actually does happen. Okay, contact 2 happened at a distance of 3 centimeters. But that was not really what I intended to see, what I wanted to see. So, yeah, let's do it again. So, nearly the same setup. I just now made absolutely sure that the block in the middle, the RF data link, is now really straight in front of the sonar. And the battery packs are really at a wider distance than the robot is wide. So let's see. There it goes. Ouch. Well, there's a lamp flash, but let's see what happens. Contact 1 and contact 2 have been activated. And no sonar at all. Yes, it says lamp on, but we have seen that. Okay, that means that I'm going to see what distance the sonar measures right now, because it says distance is 3. I think, considering the measurements I did earlier in a previous video, that it should be that the minimum distance is 2, and that's exactly the distance between the front of the touch sensor and the sonar. So this is very weird going. Yeah, let's take a look. And RoboPro started. I take the interface. Yes, there it is. And here I do select ultrasonic, which immediately says 2. And well, that is absolutely right. And these two are pressed. So in that case they do work. Now let me by hand move the RF data link block and it says 5 now. Let me measure if that is 5. Yes, that is 5 to the exact front. Oh, that is nice. Okay, then it should be 6 now, which it indeed is. So that distance measuring is actually quite accurate. Moving it back in front says 3, and the difference is that the ruler isn't there. Now I slide the ruler in between, and I did touch this touch sensor a little bit. Yes, it touches 1, not anymore. And now it is 2. I remove the ruler and it says, it keeps saying 2. So there is a little bit flaky, but or is it flaky? Not entirely reliable, but it does not explain why the sonar does not work reliably. So with this tested, knowing that it does work, let's get back to the software. And let's hope it will comply a little bit. So far it is oh, I lost contact. Did I really lose contact? Yes, I did. it even there's no contact at all anymore. This is not good. Do I have contact? Not at all. Okay, end of story for now. So I regained contact with the controller. I put the obstacles in a slightly different way, and the ruler in front or aside, whatever. Let's see again what happens. There we go. Light, and it stops. And the software stops as well. So, and this was clearly a sonar attempt. So, let's shift them a bit and do again. There we go. Bingo. And it was both contact, no sonar at all. So it deviated from the course, which is unfortunate, and the software stopped. So let's reset up and do it again. And this was sonar. This was sonar again. Yippee. But no sound. And that is something I'm still worried about. But let's do it one more time. And see what happens. And this time it doesn't bother about sonar, and by the looks of it, it doesn't even bother about touching. Yes, that it does. And it did the lamp, and that's it. So let's take a look at the outcome and source code again. So first the outcome. Needless to say, this was contact, and here, needless to say, this was sonar. So let's get back. Hopefully to here. We have the motor rest finished, which does not work correctly. And if you look at this part, here things happen. So Maybe the sequence here is not correct. But I'm not quite sure how to do those. Anyway, this isn't entirely what I intended to do with this. Since it does do these two, I may let's see, this is the sound, and it did have something like this in it in the original example. Now let's see if he prints this. Yes, it does. If text sound finished, print if TXT sound. It clearly does do that. But it doesn't do text play sound. And that is something else. Sound motor is finished. It does that too. So apparently here is something to worry about. Okay, let's do something else. Let's test about the sound, if I can. Because if that is the trick, I can try what I want. And it clearly doesn't work then. There you go. Wait a little bit. Yes, there we are. Can I do the sound? Apparently I cannot. What does it do for sound? What does it do for sound? Apparently nothing. Does something have here? No. Okay. So I have no means to test if the sound works. Just ultrasonic. Okay, so I can forget about this. I'll have to test it separately, and I will do that. For now, still the experiments have gone quite odd. Sonar working now and then, sensors, touch sensors working now and then, even the wireless working now and then. Mostly it does, and that strange thing occurring again, that the program looks like disappearing from memory but still goes on here. Now it doesn't, because it actually does stop. And in the last point, by the way, where it clearly collided, as you noticed, distance is 11 centimeters. I failed to notice that earlier, but how does it measure a distance of 11 centimeters when there's contact in the setup of 3 blocks next to each other? Very weird. Okay, I have something some things to investigate and look into, and I want to thank you for watching again, and again, to be continued.